It's Pat Gillis here, and it's that time of year again where we're checking the fencing all the time. I remember years ago, my mom, God bless her soul, she used to say that she grew up on a farm, and every spring she'd say her dad and her brothers used to always say, well, you know, we got to go out and fix the fencing. And I remember my mom thinking every spring she'd go, why don't they just fix it right the first time, and then they wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. Anyway, anybody who deals with fencing knows that that's not in the cards. It's an ongoing process all the time. So one of the things though with horses is that there's certain sort of requirements that we have for horse fencing. So I think we've probably talked about types of fencing and quality of fencing and things like that in the past. But one of the things that you have to remember when you've got horses is that the horse was never really meant to be in a enclosed area. He's hardwired as to be non-territorial and just to roam around finding different things to eat. So when we put horses in an enclosed area, we're changing the order of things a little bit. And so one of the big things that we have found over the years is how much trouble horses can get into when you have really, really square corners. I remember years ago we had this really nice young horse, and he was in a paddock with some older guys, and the old horse chased him down the fence line to send him away. And the young horse dutifully went away. But of course then he got to the next part of the fencing where the fence line turns, and the horse chased him all the way around that part of the fence. And he just kept chasing him and chasing him, chasing him. So the horse ended up going all the way around the whole perimeter of the fence, and poor soul ended right back up where he'd started. And this just enraged the other horse, and he ended up really kicking the crap out of this poor little guy. And oh my gosh, the horse had to jump out of the field. It was really pretty bad. In nature, he should have just kept going and waited to be invited back. But because of the nature of the paddock, of course, the horse followed the fence line all the way back and ended up back in the same spot. Where the problem really occurred, because I mean they could have just kept chasing him away and he could have kept coming back, but where the problem occurred was that the horse got trapped into a really square corner. So what we mean by a square corner is it's like a 90-degree angle, that fence, okay? What that fence needs, and we're going to do that eventually, right now we just have horses that get along quite well, is we need a fence post going, or a rail going from this fence post right here all the way across to that one right there. And that, or perhaps even that one there would even be better, so that you kind of have a rounded corner to this paddock. I'll show you a correct one now. You can see how this corner of the paddock is the same field, right? But this corner has a nice sort of rounded feel to it. Like there's not a 90-degree turn where a horse could kind of get backed into there and not be able to escape. You know, the day that happened, it was sort of hard not to be a little bit cross with the old horse that beat that young lad up. But then you have to kind of stop and say to yourself, you know, he's just being a horse. And for the old guy, he just felt like the young horse should have left. And when the young horse followed the fence line and came back, that was just a bit of an affront to that older horse. And he just felt like he had to kind of show the horse who was boss. And unfortunately, the poor little guy got caught in the corner. I guess it's kind of a big responsibility sometimes when you start thinking about keeping horses, and it's always sort of, I think, has to be on the top of our mind how the horse thinks, so we don't inadvertently put them in a position where they can get hurt just by being horses. If you're watching this anywhere besides at our blog, which is at ismyhorsehappy.com, go on over there, scroll down, leave a message, let me know if you've ever had fencing issues and if it's your spring ritual as well. I'll see you next week, and remember to thank your horse.